All right. Hi, everyone. I am Casey McConnell, and I'm the chair of the First Gen student group here at San Jose State's High School. I'm happy to see you all joining us for the fall general meeting. This is actually my first general meeting that I'm hosting, so I'm very excited about that. Alongside me today is the rest of the leadership team. Is We have Brandi Vien, who is our vice chair. We have Isa Sanchez, who is our media coordinator, and we also have our faculty advisor, Dr. Bernier. Um, and do you guys, I would like to turn this over to each one of you to do a quick little intro. So go ahead, Brandi. I'm going to let you take the floor.
Sure, yeah, thank you. My name is Brondi. I'm the vice chair, as Casey's already mentioned. I joined the leadership team just this year, I believe, just
Mhm.
earlier this year, and it's honestly been a great experience. Like it's really transformed my experience here as an high school student, because it's really created this community for us, and I'm really glad I took the initiative to do this, because we've really built our community, and I'm so glad we get to have the space to connect as first gen students and share our experiences together. So happy to be here. Happy you're here, Dean.
All right. Isa.
Hi everyone. I'm Issa. Like Casey said, I'm the media coordinator. I also started alongside Brondi earlier this year, and it's been a great experience. I realized within my first semester, I was like, I need community. This is really hard getting through this program without any sort of connection with other people. And so it's been really nice to find that community at this level. Because like we've talked about, it's kind of pushed off to the side. So it's really fun to be able to be a part of this group, see the community that's been able to build through our coffee and chats and our Discord. So I'm happy to be here.
It's lovely. I'm happy to have both of you by my side. It's been really wonderful. And Dr. Bernier, I would love for an introduction, please.
Well, hi everybody, and we're very pleased and honored to have you with our as our interviewee this semester. We started the First Gen group in 2020 as a result of a conversation I was having with a colleague and friend of mine who teaches at Berkeley Law up the coast a little bit. Uh, the Berkeley Law students formed a group, a first generation group, and the story that I heard from Aaron was very potent. And so I sniffed around and we started putting a flag in the ground and people started coming around it. People like the leadership group we have today. Um, Between 50 and 60% of our large student body of master students is first generation, and half of them report being first generation with bachelor's degrees. So we our school is a very powerful engine of social mobility and professional development. And I'm very, very proud of the conversation and the community that people like Casey and the leadership team have built. And thank you.
Thank you very much. This is actually you just said what we say in our intro. So if I repeat that same thing, it's because we're actually something that we're really, really proud of. So our group's mission is to empower, support, and advocate for first generation students. And we do that as we navigate our academic and professional journeys. So I don't think it necessarily stops at the school. I think what we've tried to build as our group going forward and the identity of this core team is after school. So after we've gone into our professional and our alumni, we're looking at helping each other at that point as well. And like Dr. Bernier said, over half the graduate students at the iSchool identify as first gen. So this community is large and vital to our program. Um, so today's meeting is a special one. We are joined by Dr. Mehrdad Aliasgari, the inaugural dean of the College of Information, Data, and Society at SJSU, and who is a proud first generation college graduate himself. Before we begin, I want to thank everyone for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here, and to especially thank the dean for joining us and sharing his story with our community. It is a great honor to introduce you today. Um, uh, Sorry, I'm trying to read at the same time and I apologize. Dean Aliasgari is a passionate advocate for the transformative power of education. As a first generation college graduate raised by a single mother in a low income family, Dean Aliasgari journey is a testament to the social mobility that accessible and high quality education can create. He serves as the inaugural dean of the College of Information and Data and Society. And before joining San Jose State, he was the chair of the Department of Computer Engineering and Computer Science at CSU Long Beach and has been recognized as CSULB as President and Provost Leadership Fellow, a senator to the Academic Senate of the CSU system, and a member of the 2023 Emerging Leaders Program at the American Association of State Colleges and Universities. Dr. Aliasgari holds a Ph.D. in computer science and engineering from the University of Notre Dame. Go Fighting Irish. And his research focuses on cybersecurity and machine learning, with over 34 peer-reviewed publications and 1.1 million in external funding. A significant portion of his work has been dedicated to broadening participation in computing for marginalized and historically underserved communities, reflecting his lifelong commitment to inclusion and equity in education. So without further ado, we would like to welcome Dr. Merhrdad Aliasgari. Yay!
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hello, everybody. It is great to meet all of you. As I was just saying before we started recording, this is so wonderful. It was great to hear that we have such a community, and I really want to thank the founder of this group, Dr. Bernier, because this speaks true to who we are, our identity, our mission in the California State University. One of the reasons we love this system is that we're dedicated to social mobility. We're dedicated to serve students just like us in this room, right? And this really motivates and gives all of us a passion to do what we do. And when we see your success, when we see people like, myself when I was younger, I see you doing that, coming through education and seeing that transformation for you, that really is the highlight of our careers and the reasons why we are here and we do what we do. And so to see that at the high school here, we have this group, that's amazing. I'm so happy about that. And I want to thank the faculty founder and thank all of you, Casey, Brandy, and Isa, for your leadership as well. Yeah, I'm glad to be part of this group. I know we have some questions, but I just wanted to say a little bit about myself. So I was born in Tehran, Iran, and none of my parents went to college, didn't have a college degree, right? And so, we had the normal middle class life until when I was about to get teenage, when I was 11 years old, my dad passed away, and financially we crashed, right? So we were struggling a lot. So here was a single mom, my mother raising three kids. I'm the youngest of them, and I'm the one who causes trouble, right? So the other two are much better. And so, college is not on my mind, none of our minds, right? But and I remember clearly, and this is the story I shared. This story shaped who I am as a person, as an individual. So I remember, this mother of mine who doesn't have a college degree. My dad didn't either. Right after my dad passed away, we had a car that we had to sell, right? So we were struggling, and we needed money. And so it was one of the last times that she was driving the car, and she was dropping me off at the school, and then later we were going to sell the car. And so she pulled over before she dropped me off, and she said, "Look, I need you to go to college, right? And I do whatever it takes for you to go to college and get that degree, right? And if it means that we have to sell our TV, we will do that for you to continue with your education." And I'm 11 years old, right? So I need that TV to watch cartoons. And so when she said that, I was like, "What? Where are you selling the TV?" Like I don't want this school. Like, if it means that we're not going to have TV to watch cartoons, I don't want this. It kind of was trying to backfiring. But to me, it meant that it means a lot to her. And the other thing she said in that, I still remember clearly. She said, not only you need to go to college, you need to go all the way to the highest degree. And in order to make sure you go to the highest degree, I will not let you get married until you get that degree. Now, I'm an 11-year-old kid. I was like, what? No marriage for me? I want to get married. I don't know what that is, all of that, but I assume I was going to, and so now here's my mom telling me that that's not possible unless I get that thing that I have no idea what it is, right? And so right there, I think that was her way of telling me that I needed to go to college and I needed to just keep going forward. Um, I had no idea why, right? But I realized right there that this means a lot to her and there must be a reason, right? And so I knew that was my fate, that I had to go to college, right? The good story is that I tell everyone that we didn't end up selling the TV. We sold the car. We didn't have car for a while. We didn't need to sell the TV, which was great because I continued to watch cartoons, right? And um, but I knew that I had to do this, so I went through the college, and so I was finishing up the high school, going to college. I took the exam that I had to go. I aced it, and I knew I was doing it because my mom knows that this is what I need to do, right? I go to my high school counselor and I say, "Look, I'm going to college. What should I do?" Right? My mom doesn't care where I go, what to do, can't provide advice, right? Um, and we up to that point we did struggle a lot financially. We were on subsidized food, different things. So it really helped me put everything into perspective that this is a very important decision in my life making right now because this is what my mom wants, right? That she's willing to sacrifice everything. And so I go to my counselor and high school counselor and say, what should I do? What should I study? I'm going to college. And he looked at me and I said, hey, I like problem solving, so I'm good at math. I like problem solving, but I don't know what to do. I just need to go. And he said, go ahead and study electrical engineering. And I said, what is this? And he said, this is where all the jobs are. You need to study electrical engineering. And so he said that you don't need to know what the degree is, just go. There's that saying that he told me, you just marry electrical engineering first, love will come later, right? And I was like, that is a very weird thing to say to an 18-year-old kid. But I went to electrical engineering and I went to college and my mom was very proud of me, right? And that meant a lot to me, right? So a little bit back to the story. I'm the youngest. Between the other two, one of them did go to college. That's my sister, who's my role model. And so she went through the college. She finished it. And so she was the first to finish and she was the role model. My brother went to the community college and he took a time, but he finally finished it. And so by then I already had a role model, which was my sister. So I was looking up to her. I had asked her how the college is, what it is, what you do. She had shared a little bit. So I was very privileged actually to have that sister, right? Who gave me motivations and told me that, this is good. And she was working while she was going through the college. And so that's kind of the idea that I got. It's like, okay, this is the path to social mobility. So we go to college, electrical engineering. I ended up not liking it as much. And so eventually I find my own passion and pursue it. And then I'm about to finish the college. And so I'm looking to jobs and going to grad school. I know I have to go get that ultimate degree because there was no marriage for me unless I had got that degree, right? So, um, so I go and look for and apply to Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish. And so I was very privileged that they gave me admission, a scholarship, a stipend, everything. It's like, just come here, study, we pay you. And you get your master's and bachelor degree. And I don't know why they decided to give me that opportunity, but it was incredible because otherwise I would have not had, I would have not been here. And so by then we had a car. We sold that car again, right, um, to buy the ticket to fly, and I got a one-way ticket, and we got half off, so that was a great deal. We got a deal. We got a one-way ticket to come to this country all by myself, right, with not knowing the language, not knowing anybody, just coming in here. But I was on a mission. I needed to get that highest degree or no marriage for me. And so I came here. Notre Dame was amazing. It was truly transformative. So my college experience and my graduate experience truly changed everything and opened so many doors for me. And I'm so grateful to what I received through that college. And then it was through that education that then I was able to get a faculty job, join the faculty rank. And when I was graduating, I I talked to my advisor, who is incredible, is one of the most wonderful, talented, the smartest people who truly shaped who I am. And so I said, I'm going to Cal State Long Beach. And so she said, Cal State? I was like, yeah, because I need to go and serve the people who look like me, who are coming from my background. And Cal State system is that place, is one of the places in this country that serves that kind of population. And I was fortunate enough to receive that opportunity to get here where I am. And so it's my obligation to create such opportunities for a lot of people. So it changed who I am, and it really formed who I am, because then I became, and I decided to dedicate my life, my professional life, to this goal that I have. This is my mission that I want to pursue. I always say my mission is that I want to expand access to quality, affordable education that leads to social mobility. Because that's what happened to me. My college ended up being completely free, right? And that was great, right? My graduate program was free in a different program. So I don't know how I was so lucky, but to get all of those things. But it made me think that these experiences changed my life, and I was able to get them because, well, I got them for free. But so affordability is the key. Quality of what I received through those educations are the key. Affordable quality education really transformed my life. I'm here where I am because of all of those. And so my goal is to do that for everybody, for as many people as I can. And my ultimate goal is that when I'm about to die or retire, I would like to be able to look back and say, Mehrdad, you dedicated to your life, you expanded so many lives, you expanded access to this kind of quality, affordable education, and you transformed so many lives. I don't need to be remembered by any of those lives that I touched. But what I want to do is that I want for myself to be able to look back and I say, I did that for so many other people, right? And so I think it's because if you go yourself through that experience and that journey, you really understand the value of what education can do for you, and you become passionate and committed to expanding that kind of experience to as many people as you can. And so there I was. I joined Cal State system. And I am so happy that I did that, because exactly now I could do my own personal mission. I can work on it. So I was for 12 years at Cal State Long Beach, and then when I heard about what we are doing here at San Jose State and the wonderful people who are here, the faculty, staff, the whole campus leadership, everybody. When I heard about this college and the opportunity that we could do to literally achieve that, expanding access to quality, affordable education that leads to social mobility, this college, the iSchool, the applied data science has been doing this for years, and there are so many potentials for us to do this even bigger at a much bigger scale. And so when I saw that, when I was down in Long Beach, I was like, I want to be part of this group. And can I join? And so again, lucky I got to be a small member of this community of the College of Information Data and Society, be surrounded by amazing students that San Jose State has, the high school, the college, the whole campus, and the faculty, staff, and leadership that the San Jose State has. And you can see the energy here. You can see that this is literally, we all are speaking the same goal, that we want to do that. We want to give students that are usually underserved, students that are coming from low income backgrounds, students that are first gen. We're trying to transform their lives through so many different methods, but ultimately is that transformative power of the education that what we are trying to give and provide to students here to change their lives for better, for good. So that social mobility we're talking about for all these underserved populations. And so I'm really privileged to be small member of San Jose State and this community. And so when Casey you reached out, I was like, this is great. I'm so glad that to get to talk to all of you. And I know I already talk a lot, so I stop right here.
No, I found what you said was it rang a lot of bells for me as well. That it's something very important about having access to education. And I think a lot of us, we talk about this so much within our community of first gens, is that a lot of us didn't have that access, no matter where we were. You were in Tehran, I was in Northern California. Didn't have access to that education either, just because, cost prohibitive, and or didn't have the ability to go and do it. I was given a chance to finish my bachelor's degree because of the California State Library system. I got a grant to do that. So it's those little helping hands that get you along the way. And so when you said that about Notre Dame, which is a prestigious university in this country, that is amazing. That's amazing that they invested in you because someone took that one moment to say, hey, this person matters. So I really took away a lot from that. And I'm very excited to now dive deep into this. So I'm going to turn it over to Brondi, and Brondi's going to ask you some questions, and then we'll all kind of ask you questions because we've got a lot. So we appreciate it. All right, Brondi.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Dean, for sharing your story with us. I feel incredibly honored or just privileged to hear that story. And I know a lot of us can relate to it. And I feel very connected to the community right now. I think that's our main goal here today. Um, and I mean, I know many of us can relate to pieces of what you shared. So just wanted to dive into the questions real quick. I do have a follow-up question to something that you mentioned earlier. I feel like there was a lot of emphasis on, I feel like there's often a lot of emphasis on gratitude and privilege of being given these opportunities to pursue higher education. But I feel like it's also important to recognize the hard work behind getting there. So my question for you is, how do you personally give yourself kudos for celebrating your own accomplishments along the way?
So that mother that I tell you wouldn't usually let us celebrate so much. It's like, stay humble, stay humble. You don't need to take credit for yourself. Um, but it is important to celebrate achievements because they fuel you for the next one, right? Um, so how did I celebrate some of these achievements? You spend time with the community that you love, right? And you share the joy. For me, it was my family and friends. So any achievement that I had throughout my journey, just being able to celebrate with family was very, very, very important to me. So whether we just went out for dinner together, which normally we wouldn't do, but to me that was a special, right? So we're doing this dinner together, we're going out, right? And so I remember all of those moments, right? That we went out, we celebrated for all those achievements that I had. But I think one of the things for my mom, the way she raised all of us, was that to remember that it's just not you, right? Sure, you did all the hard work. In fact, when I was studying, I remember I wrote on on a piece of paper, I wrote "Never give up," and I posted that on the wall. And I had that to, like I said, I need to keep studying. I know it's not easy. I know I have all these things to juggle, but I need to study. So I should never give up for that goal that I have. But we were also always reminded that it really takes a group of people, those hands, as Casey was mentioning, that help you go up, right? So it's not just one individual effort, but we do need to celebrate all of those individual achievements.
Yeah, it's like the saying that it takes a village,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so first question we have on a slide here. What was your experience like navigating higher education as a first-gen student? Were there particular moments that that shaped your sense of belonging or direction?
Uh, I would say there were a lot of rough times. Um, so you go in as a Christian, you don't necessarily know everything, right? So you don't know that your faculty is available, or you could go and meet with them during the office hours. At least I didn't know that was a thing. I was always hesitant. Oh, can I really go and ask the question? Um, and then there are times that I felt like, why am I doing this? And so there were a lot of times, both in my undergrad and graduate education, especially grad, um, that I almost wanted to quit, right? And it's like, this is not for me. I can't do this, right? This is just too hard. I can't do that. But what really helped me was the support that I had, especially friends, right? So this goes back to community that we are talking a lot here. Um, and I think this is really, really important for us to build that sense of community, that those connections to me are more valuable than the curriculum itself, right? I often joke, a lot of courses I took, I don't remember, right? I am guilty to admit that. But the friendships that we built together, we were support for each other throughout the journey and beyond. As Casey, you mentioned that really well. These friendships, we stayed in touch. I'm still in touch with my college friends, with graduate school, with grad friends, actually high school friends even. And we talk, we went out sometimes together. It's really, we are being there for each other for support. Obviously we share opportunities with each other too, right? So this is something that I've seen a lot. And it only became possible because we found each other through our education. So if there's one thing I tell people to do when they're in college, undergrad or grad, I always say that build those connections, as many connections as you can, those friendships, because those are what will help you, especially if you're coming as a freshman. You may not have the role model, you may not know what you need to do, you may not know that, I can reach out the faculty this way or that way. You may be shy, like I was. But friendship and the whole community that you can build together will help you navigate really difficult times. So although there will be times that you will be really, really down, and you say, maybe this is not for me, maybe I just don't belong here, right? College is not my thing. But then if you have the support around you, we will help each other to just continue, right?
Yeah, I know that in this community we talk a lot about syndrome and not feeling that sense of belonging, but leaning into community and finding our purpose has really helped personally for me with that feeling. So thank you for sharing that. All right, next question. Looking back, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced as a first-gen student and how did you overcome them?
Uh, so as a first year student, as I said, a lot of things is I didn't know what you're supposed to do in college or not, right? I knew there was value, like that mother told me I need to go, right? But like how and what to do and how it is done, what are the best ways to manage my time? how can I seek help when I need help? What are the helps available on campus, right? Advising support, career support. I had no idea about career support, like career centers, right? Um, and because often sometimes if your family they have gone through the education, they tell you. My sister herself didn't know, and she never asked, right? Um, so not knowing and not asking is usually an issue for first gen, right? And so how do you overcome, again, to me, is going back to your friends, right? And maybe you start asking from them. Maybe you're shy, you have that imposter syndrome, but maybe there is somebody that you can trust and you feel comfortable, reach out to them and say, hey, do you know anything? Nowadays, with Discord and other ways of communications, we can ask questions from a big audience group, and we can ask anonymously, so not feel any, because I always had this thing that I don't want to sound stupid, right? I was like, oh, I don't want to sound dumb. That's a dumb question. Don't you know that you can go to the advisor, right? So I never wanted to sound like that way, but now there are ways, especially with building a community, you can step out of that fear and then go and ask, right? And once you know the resources, then you will go and seek it. I think the biggest issue is that not knowing the resources that are available and not asking for them, because campuses, San Jose State offers lots of great resources to all of our students. And so we just need to make sure that these resources, these events, all of those opportunities, our students are aware of them, they seek help when they need help.
Definitely. Yeah. I think I remember when I was doing undergrad, I did not realize all the resources that we had. And I think that was also a pivotal moment for me to start my journey here in MLIS program so that I can provide that kind of knowledge to people so that they can succeed. That's awesome. Thank you. All right, next question. Do you have any advice that will be beneficial to first gen students for the iSchool program and beyond into that field?
So for the iSchool, I would say, um, my advice is to build. The first one is to build that community, and I understand it's harder when we are all online. It is, excuse me, it is really challenging, right? Because a lot of times you make friends by, just running into each other, studying in the library together, or you just meet connections that way, or you meet people and build connections that way. But when you're fully online, those opportunities don't exist. So now we have to be more intentional, right? And 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 really spend energy and efforts in building those connections. So this group, this is why I'm so proud of it. It's like, this is great because here is an opportunity for us to build those connections, right? So that's that's number one, because as I said, yeah, Discord is great. Discord is amazing. No, that is really good tool. There are so many tools that and then meet out on the Zoom. Maybe do a happy hour once you're closer with each other. Do a group happy hour instead of maybe you do a coffee together on Zoom, right? Oh,
Mhm.
coffee chats. Yeah, exactly. Um, so the other thing I would say is, and I think we all have this purpose of social mobility, right? So we do want to climb up the social ladder and have a better life, more comfortable than our parents. And we are fortunate enough now to be part of this great program, the iSchool program. And so I I would like us to remember some of the skills post graduation. So if you come to commencement, you will hear me. I'm going to reveal it right now. I always encourage you. My advice is that remain adaptable, be able to pivot basically, because especially nowadays, it's nothing is a straightforward, right? So your path may go so many different directions. You just have to be open to it, and you just have to remember that opportunities may not always come, but when they come through that door, and this is something someone told me, when they come through that door, you give them a hug. So you just need to be adaptable and be able to recognize that this is I was looking over here and I was so focused on this direction, but now there's this opportunity coming this direction, and this is going to open so many things for me. I need to be adaptable and pivot and give that opportunity a hug. right? And when that door opens, I need to pursue it. So that's why I always say remain open-minded, be adaptable, and then just continue what I know it's a cliche, we say lifetime learning, but in order to remain adaptable, you need to continue learning, right? And so uh, uh, just keep learning, finding new things, especially in information science disciplines. There's a lot of progress and change. Things are changing so rapidly and evolving, and there are new innovations and new tools and everything. And so we need to stay on top of all of those things. My recommendation is keep learning, remain open and adaptable. And when you see that opportunity, don't be shy. Go and give it a hug.
Yes, I love that. Give opportunity a hug when it walks through the door.
Right.
Okay. Next question. How did you develop your teaching and leadership skills?
So I would say teaching skills really it comes through practice. I think if I think about my first semester, I probably was not that good. I, and I want to apologize. If you're a student from that semester, this is fall 2013, and you took my classes, I'm sorry. It was my first time. But it's really through practice, right? And so again, being open, learning, reading books, hearing from, seeking mentorship. Leadership is actually not mentorship, right? So you do want to find role models, and you do want to find people that you can look up to and learn from them, right? Um, and I would say same applies to teaching and research. Is that for me, I started asking people, oh, so what do you do for your teaching, or what are some of the areas of research you do, and find collaborators in teaching or research, and so exchange information. Again, is it we have to remember that we're not doing this alone, right? And so it is a matter of us from that village. We just exchange from us in that one village that we're all together. And hopefully in that village there's a mentor for you that you can learn from in your teaching, research, leadership.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, we have one more question on the slide, and I do have one other question following up after that, and then we'll open it up to the floor for questions. What message of encouragement would you like to leave with our first gen students today?
Never give up. I wrote it with my hand. It was
Yeah.
on a piece of paper, put it on the wall, right? Every morning I looked at it, and I still remember, I don't have it right now in my office, but um, never give up. There will be so many tough times. Just keep going through, you know, just remember that there are many other people that could be there for your support. So in times of difficulty, seek help and support, but never give up.
Beautiful. Okay, one more question for me, and then I'll pass it on to Isa to do moderate the questions from the chat. So, from your perspective, Dean, how can universities continue to remove those barriers and foster, that true equity for first gen and underrepresented students?
Yeah, so there's a concept of administrative barriers. Those are barriers that we put ourselves on the roadblocks that we put on the ways of student success, right? And they that we often do that for historical reasons. Generations ago, we did it that way. We need to keep doing it that way. So, which doesn't make sense. It really defeats the main purpose we are here. Our purpose, the only purpose we have, is your success, right? And so you as a student, your success is why we are here, why universities exist, right? We want you to be educated. We want you to get that transformative education, right? And so campuses and universities are across the country and the globe need to look at everything they do. They need to assess it with the lens of data, look at it and every single step of their processes, whether it is like prerequisites, for example. Do we need those prerequisites? Are they really delaying a student's graduation? Because timely graduation is an issue, right? The later we let the students go on, the later they can get that job, right? The more money they have to spend in a school, right? And so really we're hurting them. Are we being intentional with giving them the quality educations? We have to assess it. Are we giving them the experience? I personally believe that experiential learning is one of the key ways of achieving the mission of giving quality education that leads to social mobility. Are we putting any barriers in that place, right? Are we giving them opportunities to pursue projects with their faculty, right? Um, so it's a matter of us to continuously assess what we do, how we do it, and question and be critical of our own way of doing things, because oftentimes universities do things because they were doing it for so many years, right? And so no one ever bothered to question that maybe that doesn't make sense, especially if you're serving these populations from low income, right, populations, first gen, those who may not have a role model, who may not know how university works and how not be able to easily navigate it. Well, maybe we are putting those barriers. So it is it is a responsibility of university leadership and faculty and staff to actively identify those barriers and remove them.
Definitely.
Can I
Well,
ask a follow-up question to that? Sorry to interrupt.
go for it.
Because while you were speaking, I thought of it. What if you had a wish list and there were no barriers and no funding issues and you could just pie in the sky? What would you do then to create more access?
If I had wish lists, I would make college free.
Yes.
I
That's
think the
lovely.
biggest issue we have is actually affordability. I see a lot of good work happening in increasing the quality of the education, but honestly, the biggest issue, and again, I say I was privileged. I was so privileged that I got my college for free, my grad school for free, and even got a stipend doing like teaching assistant and research assistant positions, right? Which was great because I gained experiential learning and I got paid, which I was able to pay, all of my cost, right? So for someone to go, you got the tuition, you got, rent, you got books and whatnot, you got so many costs.
Mhm.
And really to me, the cost seems just like too high and we need to bring that low. And so I would like us to find all possible ways of giving our students paid opportunities. I got paid opportunity. I want that to happen to all of our students. So yeah, go work with the faculty and we pay you, right?
Wow.
Go and be a tutor. I actually think that especially online education, I think there's a need for tutoring. Well, how do you feel about you took that class, you be the tutor to the next class, next generation, next cohort, and we get paid, you get paid, right? That will help with the cost of going to the college. So I think if there was one thing I could ask was money to subsidize all of it.
Thank you, because it is interesting how we have these, we want to break down barriers and but what does that mean? Like we say it, but it's definitely difficult just given society as it is and the structure of how universities are built. So thank you for answering that. I know that sometimes that can be a tough question to answer. Thank you.
Sure.
No, I think that was a great answer. With that, I think that's a great segue to open questions up to the floor. So if you guys have questions, either raise your hand, turn off your mic and ask a question, or you could throw it in the chat. See, what do we have going on in the
I'm reading
chat?
the chat too.
I think it's a good point what Yadir says about there's not really experiential opportunities for part-time students. And I think that's something we could talk on too if needed.
Sorry, so what is the question?
Well, following up on your comments about experiential experiences. So, getting whether that's that tutoring, like you said, or so like within the iSchool, you do sometimes feel a bit isolated, right? Because
Right.
we are distanced from each other, and that in and of itself is isolating. How does the iSchool build that? How do part-time students or distance learning students access things like that?
Right. So, and this is related to the building a sense of community. Often what you do in the initiatives you take to build a sense of community, you're doing on your own, right? So you create these Discord channels, you create these coffee get-togethers, right? So it's very grassroots, right? The students themselves come together and organize these things. So the question is then, us, what are we doing here as employees of San Jose State, as the members of the iSchool? What are the things that we need to do for you, right? And so create those opportunities. And I think experiential learning is one of the ways where you can build a sense of community. For example, if you're working with a faculty on a project, often you're working in a team, right? And so now you're building connections with your peers, which is extremely important, essential. To me, is one of the most important things that could come out of education is that peer connection. You're also building connection with the faculty. You're learning how, you can approach a faculty. First gen, we often don't have that experience, right? Uh, and you're learning something too, which you could put it on your resume. So it's a win-win. You're getting so much out of it. And then on top of that, if we could pay you for that, that would be incredible, right? Or if you're doing tutoring, right? Well, usually the tutors get together, exchange information. There's a faculty who supervises tutors. So there's a community already there. Then you tutor students. You're building another kind of community. You're interacting with them, you become, again, you're building that connection, you gain experience, you can put that on your resume. I often say you don't learn something unless you can teach it, right? So the best way for you to learn your classes is to teach them. And so if you can be, I mean, we don't want you to be the faculty immediately, or that would be great. But if you can be a teaching associate or teaching assistant and a tutor, and if that is paid, that would be wonderful too, right? But you learn the topic really well. You can put it on your resume. You build that sense of community too. And so I think these are the things that we as the iSchool have to do for you, right? We have to find ways to create these experiential learning opportunities. This is our responsibility. It's great that you're already very grassroots and creating these coffee meetups or discourse and building that sense of community. But we have that obligation too, and we know and we should acknowledge that an online degree is much harder to build those connections. And so we have to be more, it's our responsibility, right? As the iSchool faculty and staff, and as the whole college actually, is one of my responsibility to help the whole college to figure these things out, how we can create those opportunities for our students.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Michelle in the comments, she asked, how did it feel making the transition from your previous institution to now San Jose State?
So it's one good thing that I have to say is that Cal State Long Beach, just like San Jose, is one of the campuses of the California California State University, right? So with that is really one university with multiple campuses. So there's many things in common, right? So it's going from one sister campus to another sister campus. And that made it a lot easier because, terminologies are the same. A lot of these things are the same. Yet, despite that, each campus has its own unique way of doing things. And so far, I've been trying to learn and understand how things are going. I have to say, one transition, and I don't know if Anthony Bernier has ever experienced this, but I was a faculty as a department chair. It was a very large department. Uh, but now I'm an administrator, and so you're really changing hats, and that's a really interesting. So I'm still learning. So I guess the answer is I still don't know. Right?
Uh,
Yeah, but I'm learning. But I have to say, San Jose State is incredible people. So this is really good place.
we're happy to have you here. Jacqueline or Jackie in the comments asked, you mentioned faculty's responsibility in addressing barriers. For professors who don't share the first gen experience, what structures can help them recognize those barriers in the first place?
That's a great question. So those who don't share our experiences, where structure can help them recognize it. This is really great question. Um, because they don't have the same lived experiences as we do, right? And um, you know, really, hopefully, I say this, one of the ways that we are hiring, we're looking at faculty who are passionate about serving the students that we have. So they may not have themselves gone through this, but they, through trainings, programs that they have gone through, they have, or any other reason, they have built this passion and understanding of the student populations that we serve, and they have the passion serving those, right? So we're definitely being very cognizant in finding talent that shares that mission and vision of the CSU and San Jose State when we hire people. That is very important. So we're looking for that. And it's really, I think, again, for the faculty and staff and administration, it's a matter of building that community as well and sharing with them. So your experience wasn't like this, but let me share you someone else's experience. This is what our student is going through. A student X, this is what you're going through. So building is really trying people to find the sense of empathy that they have in themselves, right? And connect with that empathy, right? And so then they can say that I see where you are, right? And I'm here to help you. I may not be in the same situation that you are, and that's okay, right? But my empathy is here to really just telling me that I need to do whatever I can to help you, right? And so I think it's really important that we build a campus that people here have that empathy and they are really committed uh, to this. Hopefully, we can hire people that we bring around them. Hopefully, the ones that are here do have it. And if not, we try to awaken that sense in them through discussion, dialogues, um, and other kind of trainings. But it's a very tough thing. I have to say that. I think this is a great question. It's just not easy. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Dr. B asked a question earlier in the comments. Building community around material circumstances such as social class is wonderful, but not everyone feels that FG focus is appropriate at the grad level, especially as other identities are also competing for acknowledgement and resources. How do we navigate this criticism? I think that kind of ties into what we just spoke on as well.
Mhm. Yeah. So building community around material circumstances. Yeah, exactly. I think that really ties to it. Yeah. And it's not easy, right? So, but I think we have to work on it. Again, we should never give up, right? And so we have to be cognizant, we have to acknowledge, and we do know there are criticisms like that. Um, we know there are people who don't share these backgrounds and may not share the same passion. Um, but hopefully we build enough community here as we hire that do share that passion. Again, they don't need to be a first gen, right? As long as they have that empathy and that passion of serving populations like populations that the CSU is committed to serving. I think that's very important that we surround ourselves with this kind of group of people.
I'd like to add to that. What Yadir said, I wholeheartedly agree that I think sometimes with the first gen, it is much broader, and therefore there are all these intersectionalities that follow. So it's kind of almost like a big umbrella. You have, okay, first gen, but then you have other people who are maybe first gen immigrant or the Black Student Union, things like that. So there's a bunch of different identities that kind of fall under that because they also tie to social class. And we've seen a lot of that. We've had a lot of those types of discussions in our coffee and chats. We actually go quite in depth in those, and they're so beautiful and they're so amazing because each person, no matter where you're from, has a different story. We may have something similar where we are first gen, but that then branches out in all these different ways, and it's absolutely beautiful. So I just wanted to tag that on to that because I think that that's part of that identity too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Did we cover questions? Are there any more? Or I could ask you questions.
We're cool with that. Go ahead.
No, no. I mean, if there are any questions, I would love to stick around a little bit and ask any questions you might have.
I do have one.
Go
Going
ahead.
back to that intersectionality, because I know there's a lot of talk about being first gen immigrant and then first gen student. Was there ever a moment that you were caught between worlds that had some type of impression on how you achieved things through school?
Um, can you help me understand this? So, if there was a moment,
Is it
uh,
maybe more like, let me pose it like this. Is there a tension between those two identities of being a
right,
first gen student
right.
but also being a first gen immigrant? Is there some type of tension between the two?
I don't think have ever felt that way.
Mhm.
Virgin immigrant is difficult, especially if you're all by yourself, right?
Yeah.
Which was my case, right? So I came here, with nobody and not much of language, and you do get homesick for sure, right? And now the good thing is that by the time I came here, there were all these apps that you could make phone calls, right? So uh, and so I could stay connected with family.
Yeah.
Um, I think once you immigrate, you're first gen because you're first gen. There's nothing you could do about it, right? You're
Mhm.
born first gen, right? Because your parents didn't go to college, right? They didn't get a college degree. Um, but you choose to immigrate, and then that happens at some point. If you're a first gen immigrant, that happens at some point in your life, right? So it will change a lot of things for you. It will have an impact on your identity, obviously, because now you have a new identity and you're trying to navigate that. And you know, it really impacts sense of belonging for sure, right? Because especially as a new country, you go in, it's like, I don't know what they are saying, I don't understand any of this, right? And then you get homesick, and so forth. But I never saw these two being at odds with each other. That was always my identity as a first gen. I wasn't just paying attention. I knew I had to go to college because my mom said so, right? But but this is who I have always been, right? And then when I became an immigrant, that was something that was added, but they never went against each other.
That's beautiful. It's a really it's a testament to your mom. Your mom sounds like an amazing human being, and I just
I
thanks to
agree.
her.
I picked a good mom, that's for sure.
Yeah, you did. You picked a great mom. Thank you for that. That's awesome. Cool. Is there you picked a
Well, I, I was going to ask about your experiences, right? So, what you want me to know? What are some of the things you want to share? Uh, what are some of the things you want to see more done? Things that are working and good, and we could do more. Things that are not working. Some of the things that we are missing, we could do that we're not doing. uh, in your journey, in your experience as a first gen student here at San Jose State and at the high school, from any of you, how has been your experience and what are some of the things that we could do? And it's kind of tied to the question you had, institutional barriers or anything that institutions, it may be not necessarily a barrier that we need to remove, but maybe it's something that we haven't done that we need to do, right? So either way, I would like to hear from you directly in that space.
I was like, who wants to go first?
It seems like Yadir did mention something in the chat saying broad discussion forums for the iSchool would go a long way to help build connections. I would find that even more valuable than being in person. And I kind of can go off of that would be interesting to have, because in our discussion posts, they don't get as in-depth sometimes because you can tell for some people, I'm just trying to get through this assignment. I'm just trying to get through this discussion post. So like that broad discussion forum would be nice to see, or forum would be nice to see it take place because then, you know, it's people interacting because they want to, not because they have to.
Mhm. I think
So
that's, oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so this is a forum where anyone can come in and share on any
I,
topic.
yeah, I think it would, I think at least from my perspective, I'm not so too sure about Yadir, but I think yeah, like a forum set up just for the iSchool, maybe someone can help with generating those like questions to start discussions, but also maybe having it open to students to start discussions. That, it's not something I've thought too in depth about, but it is certainly, I know, an issue with some of the others within the group of sometimes our discussion posts don't feel fulfilling of
Yeah.
the stuff we've learned.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to see what could happen if we maybe opened it up to everyone.
Mhm. I wanted to add to that because I think sometimes there are some classes and professors that do it in a different way, in a different manner, that add your personal perspective. There are some that give you prompts that say, a good example is I took Dr. Bernier's PhD class over the summer, and it felt more personable in some of those questions, some of the posts that we made. Also, Lisa Hood will have you interact a little bit more in a small group. So I think sometimes maybe taking it from that large hundred and some odd people that are in 3 unit or three different courses all together and makes it a little bit smaller so that you're more community like, and then sometimes your responses are actually more less about the topic and more about the person that's behind the computer. I've noticed that sometimes helps. I do know that just from my own perspective that online school is great for me. I love it, but I don't have that friendship, that those things built. And that's what led me to first gen, was because it does feel somewhat impersonal on a discussion post. I wonder if there's a way to have people, um, and I'm not just saying doing group work, more like we're actually part of the process of school. I don't really know how to say that otherwise. Because being in person doesn't necessarily work. However, how do we make that more relative online?
Um, Jackie also
Mhm.
said in the chat, as to answer your question, a way to download all course content like discussion posts and prompts, not just assignments, when we complete courses. It's a huge pain point for ePort. Um, and
Hooray.
then Miss,
That's something that maybe we can, that's a technology thing we can address. But I also like the point you brought up. We kind of have to humanize those posts, those forums, and make sure we bring that human behind the post there. So no, that is very important. So this is something that we can go and look into, right? How we can encourage it, right?
Yeah.
um, Michelle also said in the chat, perhaps some more discussion introduction to internships for newly or early students. I know students who never even applied for them because they had no idea where to even begin. And internships go a long way, especially for academic librarianship.
Yeah, and I see, yeah, they also added that they're hard. So this is a very good point to bring in. Internships are a key as part of that experiential learning, right? you go and learn in the real world and you see how what you have learned, how they translate it to a real world. So we do need to make sure that it seems like we do need to do more in introducing this to people, to our students, knowing what resources are available, promoting some of these resources. It is really important to me. I think internship is really essential to getting that job, getting that experiential learning is really the key. So we need to make sure that our students understand how they work, understand where they can find resources, how you go about getting an internship because often they're very competitive, right?
Mhm.
No, great point.
I think that also goes for a lot of people that enter the MLIS program is that they've never worked in a library of any type. And
Mhm.
so what if there were more, I mean, because a lot of people do want to do public librarianship. I would love it if there was internship situations available for that. And I understand the budgetary concerns because I've been in a public library for over a decade. But, if there was something that the iSchool could do that would help utilize that or help people figure it out. I don't know what that actually means, but just spitfiring from my brain. So,
Yeah, we definitely do need to think more about it. But yeah, it's very important to expand access to as many internship opportunities as possible and make sure our students do apply, right?
mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh, Jacqueline or Jackie also added any plans to add more IT or cyber courses to MLIS or onboard instructors. Info 293 Intro to Data Networking has been vacant for a while.
So these are the things that I'm taking note right now that I have to go and ask the leadership of the high school, the director, associate director, and Dr. Bernier is here who can help us to. These are really good questions. To be honest with you, I don't know, but I totally agree. Those are really great topics, especially now more than ever.
mm,
So we do need to make sure that our students have the opportunity to take these classes and pursue if this is of their interest. So let me take notes and hopefully I will reach out to the high school leadership team.
mhm.
Right.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity, by the way. This is kind of neat that we get to tell you what we've been thinking about as well.
Yeah, so here's what I actually wanted to share. Um, so when I became a chair at Long Beach, I created a group called Student Advisory Board. And so it was just a group of the students, undergraduate, graduates, different programs, and those who had leadership positions as clubs and the student organizations and those who weren't. So I tried to sample a big group, created this group. Every year, obviously, the membership would change because people would graduate. But they were the advisor to me as the chair or director of that program, of that unit, right? And so it was really good because I wasn't in the classroom, I wasn't teaching, I wouldn't have any opportunity. So all I heard was through the faculty. And so I didn't have a direct contact with the students. And so I couldn't hear directly from them. So I said, I need to hear directly from you because you're the reason we are here. And so I built that group, invited people, and they were giving me all these great ideas. And many great things happened, actually. One of them was saying, oh, why don't we have tracks within the degree? There was one major degree and we could have these tracks, these tracks. So they came up with a curriculum proposal. And I said, that's a great idea. So I took it to my faculty and said, hey, do you know what the students just told me? Why don't we do these things? And my faculty couldn't say no, right? Because the students were proposing something really wonderful and very logical, and we just never thought about it, right? And so we changed the curriculum exactly the way the students were asking for. And so I went back, we posted, the student graduated, uh, but I told the student by the time he was graduate, it's like, look, the curriculum has changed. Now we have exactly what the things you propose. I'm going to name it after you. So, this is your legacy, right? And so I'm actually doing that now, student advisor to the dean. So I'm building it. And so I want to ask you if you're interested to join that group, send me your email. So now I'm trying to find people from all of our programs, from the high school, applied data science, a group that is comprehensive and covers everybody. So I could hear from you directly because now I'm actually a level even more detached from the students. So I'm at one level even further away from you. So it's much harder to hear directly from you. So I need these regular student advisory board meetings to hear from you, to understand what are some of the things we could do. Um, so that's a project for me. I'm trying to find who I can put together to have a diverse representation of the students from all of our programs. So hey, if you're interested in joining, please shoot me an email. And the expectations are that we try to meet once a month or once every other month on Zoom, and usually 1 hour every time. And there is nothing, no agenda for meetings. I sit there, I don't talk, you share with me, and that's it, right? And I share with you what are the things that we could do. You share about any pain points or any ideas for improvements or any concerns. And it's just like really hearing directly from you. And then I could take it back to, to the leadership team here and say, look, this is what they're saying. Why aren't we doing it, right? So that's the only commitment. But we obviously try to find a time that works for everybody. That's usually the challenge because this is about the 1 hour Zoom meeting. We try to do once a month or every other month. So if you think that's something that you can commit to, please send me an email.
Thank you for that offer. Honestly, I'm interested in it. I might send you over an email. We're gonna take this last question from Yadir. But do you have a description of the role and expectations for students serving on the student advisory board?
Um, to be honest with you, the way I've had it is a very informal thing board. As I said, the time commitment is those Zoom meetings. Other than that is really what I want is just to hear from the students. And so what I have done is like we go around and hear from everyone. Hey, what are you seeing? What are some of the things that we could do to improve our program offerings? Any concerns? Are you getting the classes you want? Or it's just really to have a direct feedback, right? Students can always send me emails with their ideas, but this is just another opportunity to get together, um, you know, and we build that community, right? So that's yet another opportunity to do that.
Thank you so much for taking the time to share your story, your wisdom, having this discussion with us, and taking note of the concerns we have about the program. We loved hearing how your first gen experience shaped your leadership and vision for the College of Information, Data, and Science Society, and it's very inspiring. And to everyone here, thank you for joining us and for continuing to make the first gen student group such a strong and supportive space. Uh, we did want to let you know that our next coffee and chat will be on December 3rd, 2025, or this year. Just look out for our announcements, our posts. We will make sure you are informed about all of that when the Zoom link is available. Keep your eyes peeled though for future open positions. Check out our blog for more insights. Our website is constantly under construction, so sorry about that. Um, these are the links to all of our most used social media uh, places. I can drop the Discord link. That's probably our most active within all of them. We're very active there. We love having discussions not just about school stuff, but also personal achievements, things going on in our lives, and just having fun with one another. But once again, thank you all for spending this time with us, and a special thank you to Dr. Aliasgari for being here today. And to end it off, have a wonderful rest of your day. Never give up and go give that opportunity a hug.
Thank you. I love that. Thank
Love
you.
it. Thank you.
Thank you all for having